What's up guys, F-Focus, and we're back on some Escape from Tarkov. I've been getting a bunch of requests to do graphics settings in .12 since I did change engines. I'm sure there's 15,000 other options on YouTube. So just to get things kind of cleared up on mine, my graphics settings, we're going to make this quick. My computer specs rather, I have an i7 6700K, 32 gigs of RAM, which does play a part in Tarkov less now that they switched engines, and NVIDIA GTX 1080. So just so you guys can put that as a comparison on things, I'm not going to say what you should or should not do based on monitor and refresh rate of your monitor and stuff, but you'll see all that. As far as full screen, I recommend only going native on your resolution and only going full screen because there's some issues, going borderless or even windowed. And obviously VSync for me is better when it's turned on. I have a 144Hz refresh rate monitor with G-Sync, and whenever I have that turned on I actually get less tears and it's just all around smooth, but you guys can make that your own call based off your monitor. As far as your overall texture quality goes, I've tried all of them. Now you have to close the game every single time, so it makes the process even that much more annoying. High streaming though, high and streaming, I got the lowest obviously due to a good reason, but my high and medium were roughly about the same at an average of around 95 frames, dropping down to around 90 frames. All this was tested on custom, so other maps may vary, higher on factory and labs, and then obviously lower on the bigger maps. But I'm going to keep it on high due to just like recording quality and just overall better quality for visibility. But you're more than welcome to go to lower. You'll gain about 5 to 10 FPS on average depending on the map. And your shadow quality and object LOD both put to low. There's not that much of a difference if you turn those up or down, but it does give you 3 to 4 better frames. Your overall visibility I set to 2000. I got like 2 inches for my monitor and I changed this setting to every possible option and I saw absolutely no change, so I just kept it roughly in the middle. Your shadow visibility is on 60. Whenever I put it to the minimum or when I put it to the maximum, for whatever reason I actually lost frames. So if I put it right in the middle, I got the best frames. I don't know how that works, but I kept mine at 60. Your anti-aliasing I put on FXAA. Resampling is something that they've put in. Obviously mine's on just 1x. You can downscale if you want. You can downscale to 0.75 or even 0.5. Obviously that gives you way better frames, but your picture looks like total ass because you're downscaling, obviously. It's called resampling, but like I said, mine's on 1x. Your HBAO, which is just from what I did on research, because again I don't know much about this stuff, is just a better version of SSAO. Stands for Horizon Based Ambient Occlusion. I couldn't really tell a difference on customs at all whenever I messed with these settings, but I felt as if whenever I was running around getting other things to load in, I actually got less, I guess, frame drops whenever I had it off. But really, again, you can put it on whatever because I didn't have any issues whatsoever with any option. SSR is obviously off. You get less frames whenever it is on. Anisotrophic filter. It's really just whenever you're looking on the ground, like other things in the distance, how fast they become blurry. You really don't see any difference in frames, but if you go to a road and look at the ground, and you can see where the screen kind of tears and gets blurry when it's off. It's way closer. And when you turn it to per texture on, and I don't know why Tarkov only has those options. A lot of other games have, an X something times something. But whenever you have it off, you can see the blurriness a lot quicker. Whenever you have it on, obviously the blurriness is way further down. So really it's just a visual thing on your guys' part. Alright, so with the new part of .12 also as far as graphic settings goes, they add a couple options. The auto RAM cleaner everyone's used. Mine's checked, even though I'll show you guys another process that I have going on in the background. Set up obviously courteous to diabetes, and there's another option called the process affinity to logical cores. That's what you set it to. It's checked on. I got barely any frame increase, but it seems to have run a little bit smoother. Obviously with the changes to the new engine, my stutters are like non-existent. So I haven't really had any issues with that, so I can't really compare it off of if it helps stutters or not, but mine's checked anyway to give me that little small boost of FPS. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is actually standby memory. And again, Diabetes, he takes full credit for this. He's the one that walked me through this and had everything going. So if you go to your resource monitor, you get there by going to Task Manager, go over to Performance, and click on Open Resource Monitor. They'll bring you to this right here. You'll see your memory right here, your physical memory. And when your standby memory grows, you have less free memory, therefore increasing the chance of stutters in your game. Now that they switched to the new Unity engine, I don't know how the stutters are going to work because I've been doing this since before they switched. But I can promise and tell you right now that before they switched engines, me just doing this empty standby memory alone has completely changed my stutters, substantially. Now, again, they switched engines, so I don't really know how it's going to play out too much. But I have this task here. We've titled it Empty Standby Memory, and obviously it's set to run at a certain time now. And every time it's scheduled to run in the background infinitely. And every time this runs, it'll actually empty my standby memory. Okay, we can get it to run automatically right now. It's 10 minutes indefinitely is when it runs. Okay, but I just ran it automatic, and it actually emptied the standby memory here. So whenever I'm playing Tarkov, you can set this to 5 minutes if you want, but when I'm playing Tarkov, I don't want the standby memory to just keep growing. Whenever I checked it, when Diabetes asked me about this for the first time, I remember coming in here, and my standby memory was at like 5 gigs. It was insane, and I hadn't even been playing that long. So I was like, wow, that's actually a substantial difference. So me just running this process, it usually doesn't get over 500 megabytes. That's usually when the process times and it runs, and it'll always empty itself. So if you guys want more on this, I'll get with Diabetes, let him know if I can post the stuff, because again, he walked all the way through this. I just want to let you guys know that this has helped me. I run this in the background. Whether this helps in 0.12 or not, I'm not sure. But you guys asked me about all my graphic settings, and here it is. So without further ado, hit that like button, subscribe, share if you want to, and as always, enjoy.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare 'cause the flame